Every life that has ever been transformed began with a decision to take the work seriously. Not the applause, not the outcome, not the attention, but the work itself. That is where greatness is born. Too many people spend their days waiting for a breakthrough, waiting for recognition, waiting for results that prove they're on the right track. But the truth is, results don't come first. The work does, the sweat, the effort, the long hours when no one is watching. That's where the future is written. If you can't fall in love with the work, you'll never hold the reward for long. But if you can learn to show up with energy, passion, and consistency, even when no one claps for you, the rewards will be bigger than you ever imagined. The real power is not in chasing success, but in becoming the kind of person who earns it through daily action. When you understand that, you stop waiting and start building. That's when your life begins to change forever. When people talk about success, they often get fixated on the end picture. They dream of the reward, the recognition, the applause, and the moment when everything feels complete. But the truth is, none of that comes first. What comes first is the work, the hours you put in before anyone notices. The mornings when you get up and push yourself, even when you're tired. The evenings when you could be out doing something easier, but instead you sit down and focus on your task that comes before the prize. Reward has no meaning without work, and if you chase the reward without building the effort, you'll always be left empty. Think about it this way. The farmer doesn't see the harvest before planting the seed. The soil doesn't give back unless it's been worked on day after day. The gym doesn't give you strength the first time you show up. It demands repeated effort. Life is the same. You don't win because you want the trophy. You win because you've put in the daily grind long before the trophy ever showed up. And this is why people who are obsessed with the reward often quit too soon. They keep waiting for quick results, and when they don't see them, they lose energy. But the one who is obsessed with the work keeps going, and in time, the results can't help but show up. Discipline is what builds the foundation for all of this. Without discipline, every dream falls apart. Talent alone doesn't carry you. Even passion by itself will fade if it's not tied to structure. Discipline means showing up when it's hard, showing up when no one is clapping, and showing up when your emotions tell you to rest. It's what separates the people who wish from the people who achieve. When you discipline yourself to stay consistent with the work, you could create strength that no distraction or setback can take away. And remember, results are always temporary. You might achieve a goal, you might make money, you might get recognition, but those moments pass. What stays with you is who you became while working for it. The skills you learned, the strength you built, the resilience you created, those things never leave. That's why the real value isn't in the result. It's in the person you become along the way. The work builds you in a way that success alone never could. If you chase results, you'll be hungry again tomorrow. But if you commit to the work, you'll have something that lasts a lifetime. Obsession with the work is what changes an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. Obsession doesn't mean you ruin your health or ignore your responsibilities. It means you care so deeply about your mission that you refuse to give up when it's boring, when it's slow, when it doesn't seem to pay off. That kind of commitment builds greatness. Most people only dabble. They work hard for a while, then stop when it feels heavy. But the person who gets obsessed with improving their craft, with mastering their routine, with showing up every single day, those are the ones who eventually rise far above average. And here's the truth about results. They always come as a byproduct of the work. They're not something you chase directly. You don't stand in front of the mirror demanding muscles to appear. You lift the weights, you eat the right food, you rest, and over time the muscles build. The reward comes because the work was done. If you fall in love with the process, you don't even need to worry about the outcome. It will take care of itself. Too many people want the glory, but they don't love the grind. The grind is the daily repetition, the sometimes boring practice, the hours when no one is watching. That's the part that scares people away, because it doesn't feel glamorous. But the grind is where the magic is. When you choose to enjoy the effort, when you find pride in your small progress each day, you separate yourself from the crowd. Because most people give up when it stops feeling exciting. If you stay consistent in the grind, you'll get the glory without even chasing it. Work also shapes your identity in a way that results never can. Results only measure what you've done. Work defines who you are. You might win an award, but that award doesn't change your character. What changes you is the early mornings you trained, the difficult choices you made, the hours you sacrificed for improvement. Those things mold you into someone stronger, wiser, more capable. The results can be taken away. Money can disappear. Recognition can fade, but who you became in the process stays with you forever. And there's something powerful in delayed gratification. In today's world, people are used to instant rewards. But lasting success has always belonged to those who can wait. If you can hold back your desire for quick rewards and instead keep building patiently, you create success that doesn't collapse at the first challenge. It's like stacking bricks every day. One day doesn't look like much. A week still doesn't show much progress. But after months of consistent effort, you've built something solid. The reward shows up later, but when it does, it lasts because it's built on real effort. That's why the process matters more than the outcome. The outcome is just one moment in time. The process is every moment that leads there. If you enjoy the process, if you can focus on improving little by little each day, you win every day, not just on the day you hit your goal. When you fall in love with the process, you don't have to keep checking if you're winning. You know you're winning because you're growing, you're improving, and you're building strength that can't be taken away. And the truth is, success is always hidden in daily effort. Not in one big action, not in one dramatic breakthrough, but in what you do every day. The way you spend your mornings, the way you handle your distractions, the way you stay consistent with the little things, these shape your future more than anything else. Most people wait for a big moment, but the big moment is built from countless small actions that looked ordinary at the time. Every choice, every habit, every repetition counts. So if you want to live a life of meaning, stop chasing the results and start getting obsessed with the work. Because work will never betray you. Work will always give back exactly what you put in. And when you stay committed to the process, the results will show up in ways you could have never predicted. Part 2, discipline builds the foundation. Discipline is the starting point of every strong and lasting achievement. Now, without it, dreams stay as dreams and never grow into reality. Discipline is the act of saying yes to what truly matters and saying no to what distracts you, even when your emotions are pulling you in the opposite direction. It is not about punishing yourself, but about training yourself to keep commitments. Anyone can feel motivated for a day or two, but only discipline keeps you going after the initial spark has faded. When you choose discipline, you build a structure in your life that can carry weight, pressure, and responsibility. Without it, everything you try to build will eventually collapse. The reason discipline is so powerful is because it teaches consistency. Success doesn't arrive from one lucky moment. It comes from repeated action, done over and over again until progress becomes permanent. Discipline creates those repetitions. It's what makes you pick up the book again, hit the gym again, practice your craft again, even when your body or mind doesn't feel like it. That consistency shows. Over time, the small actions compound, and suddenly the person you are today is miles ahead of the person you were yesterday. This growth only comes when you make discipline your daily partner. Discipline also helps you control your time, which is one of the most valuable resources you will ever have. Without discipline, time gets wasted. Hours slip away into distractions that give nothing back. But when you practice discipline, you begin to protect your hours like they're gold. You use your mornings wisely, you avoid meaningless habits, and you dedicate yourself to things that move your life forward. In the long run, that's what separates people who achieve from people who only talk about achieving. Everyone has the same 24 hours, but not everyone uses them with discipline. There's also a deep sense of pride that comes with living a disciplined life. It gives you confidence because you know you can rely on yourself. Many people don't trust themselves because they break their own promises. They say they'll start, but then they quit. They set goals, but they never follow through. Every time you quit on yourself, your confidence weakens. But every time you follow through with discipline, you build self-respect. You start to trust your own word, and that trust gives you strength to handle bigger challenges. Discipline might feel hard in the moment, but it always leads to freedom. When you live without discipline, you end up controlled by impulses, emotions, and bad habits. You feel trapped in cycles you can't escape, but when you practice discipline, you gain control. You're not driven by laziness or temptation. You're guided by clear choices. That control gives you freedom. Freedom to live healthier, freedom to earn more, freedom to reach higher goals. Discipline isn't about making your life smaller, it's about giving yourself the chance to live on your own terms. What many people don't realize is that discipline isn't something you're born with. It's built just like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. You don't start by controlling everything at once. You start small. You decide to wake up on time. You decide to keep your word on one small task. You decide to push yourself for a few extra minutes when you want to stop. Each of those moments is like lifting a weight. At first, it feels heavy, but over time, you grow stronger. And soon, what once felt impossible becomes natural. That's the power of building discipline, one step at a time. Discipline also has a direct connection to opportunity. When you live without structure, you miss chances because you're not prepared. But when you live with discipline, you're always ready when opportunities arrive. You've been sharpening your skills, keeping your body and mind in shape, staying consistent with your goals. So when the door opens, you're not scrambling to catch up. You're already prepared to walk through it. Many people think. The truth is, discipline makes you ready to take advantage of opportunities when they appear. There will always be times when discipline feels uncomfortable. Waking up early when you want more sleep, choosing healthy food when the unhealthy option looks better, working on your craft when distractions are calling, these moments test you. But every time you push through, you prove to yourself that you can overcome. That proof builds resilience, and resilience is priceless. Because life will throw setbacks at you, and if you haven't built the muscle of discipline, you'll fold under pressure. But if you've trained yourself to stick to the work, even when it's uncomfortable, you'll be able to handle challenges and keep moving forward. One of the most important truths about discipline is that it creates momentum. Success rarely comes from one big effort. It comes from a chain of consistent actions. Discipline keeps that chain unbroken. And once you've built momentum, everything becomes easier. The first days of waking up early might feel brutal, but after weeks of discipline, it becomes second nature. The first months of saving money instead of spending might feel restricting, but later it feels powerful to watch your savings grow. Momentum created by discipline carries you further than motivation ever will. Discipline builds the foundation for everything else in life. Without it, dreams collapse. With it, you can build health, wealth, character, relationships, and purpose. It's not about perfection, It's about commitment. It's about showing up, doing the work, and refusing to break the promises you make to yourself. Every great achievement begins with that foundation, and once it's in place, you can build a life that not only reaches your goals, but also lasts through every storm. Part 3. Results are temporary, work is permanent. Results can feel incredible in the moment. You achieve something you've been chasing, you cross a finish line, you hold the prize in your hands, and for a short time it feels like the world is yours. But as exciting as that moment is, it doesn't last. The feeling fades, the recognition disappears, people move on. The money you earn gets spent, the applause quiets down. That's the nature of results. They are temporary. They mark a moment in time, but they don't guarantee anything about the future. The work, on the other hand, never leaves you. The habits you build, the discipline you strengthen, the skills you master, and the growth you experience while chasing those results stay with you forever. That's why the work will always matter more than the result. Think about someone who worked hard to win a championship, earn a promotion, or achieve a big goal. That moment of victory is real, but once it's over, life asks a new question: what's next? If that person was obsessed only with the result, they often struggle because they realize the result doesn't carry them forward. But if they were invested in the work that led to it, they don't stop after one victory. They keep moving because the work has become part of who they are. The result was just a checkpoint. The work is what gave them the ability to keep growing beyond that point. This is why so many people who chase quick success end up frustrated. They think the outcome will finally make them happy or fulfilled, but once they get it, they realize the feeling doesn't last. The reward feels good for a moment, but it can't sustain you long term. What sustains you is the daily practice, the effort, the learning, and the improvement. Work builds something inside you that doesn't fade with time. The results may be gone tomorrow, but the work you put in yesterday makes you stronger today. When you focus only on results, you set yourself up for disappointment. Because no matter how much you achieve, there will always be more to chase. There will always be someone richer, stronger, or more recognized. If your entire identity is tied to results, you will constantly feel like you're falling behind. But if your identity is tied to the work, you win every day you show up. You don't need applause to feel progress. You know you're winning because you are keeping your promises, you are building your craft, and you are shaping yourself into someone better than you were yesterday. That kind of victory lasts because it's built on who you're becoming, not just on what you're achieving. Work also has a way of protecting you when life takes away results. Imagine someone who built wealth but never built work ethic. If they lose their wealth, they're lost because they never developed the skills or the character to rebuild. But imagine someone who built wealth through years of discipline and consistency. If they lose it, they can rebuild again because the habits and the mindset that created success in the first place are still inside them. That's why work is permanent. It equips you with the tools to create results again and again, no matter what life throws at you. This is especially true in a world where everything changes fast. Technology changes, markets shift, industries rise and fall. A result you achieved today might be irrelevant tomorrow. But the ability to adapt, to work hard, to learn, to discipline yourself, those things don't expire. They carry you through changing times. You might lose a job, but if you built work ethic, you'll find another path. You might lose recognition, but if you built real skill, you'll find new ways to shine. Results may vanish, but work makes you valuable in any situation. Work also creates character in a way results never can. Results can be faked or lucked into. Someone might stumble into money or recognition without really earning it, but work doesn't lie. You can't fake the hours you've put in, the discipline you've built, the challenges you've overcome. That work leaves a permanent mark on your character. It builds resilience, patience, and confidence. It creates a deep sense of pride that no one can take from you because you know you earned it. And when you look back on your life, what you'll remember most won't be the trophies or the applause. You'll remember the work. You'll remember the mornings you woke up when it was hard, the days you kept going when you wanted to quit, the growth you felt as you got stronger and wiser. Those moments shape you far more than the temporary thrill of results. Results might look good in a picture, but the work gives you stories, lessons, and strength that last a lifetime. If you want lasting success, stop chasing the temporary high of results and start investing in the permanent value of work. The work is where you build yourself. The work is where you create momentum. The work is where you plant seeds for a future that can't be taken away. Results may come and go, but the work you do each day builds a foundation that carries you through every season of life. This is why the wisest people focus less on celebrating results and more on celebrating consistency. They know that the result is only proof that the work was done, and the next result will come if the work continues. If you build your life on work, you'll always be moving forward, no matter what temporary outcomes come and go. But if you build your life only on results, you'll constantly be chasing something you can never hold on to. So commit yourself to the work. Commit yourself to the process of growing, improving, and showing up day after day. Don't worry about how long it takes for results to appear, because they will appear in time. What matters is that you are building something permanent inside yourself. And once you've built that, no one can take it away. Results may fade, but the person you become through the work will stay with you forever. Part 4, obsession turns ordinary into extraordinary. Obsession is the difference between living an average life and creating an extraordinary one. Most people are willing to do enough to get by, to meet expectations, to stay comfortable. But those who achieve greatness have something deeper driving them. They don't just work when it's convenient, and they don't stop when it gets boring. They commit with such intensity that the work becomes a natural part of who they are. That kind of obsession changes everything. It pushes you beyond what's common, beyond what most people are willing to do, and into a space where the results become remarkable almost by default. When you're obsessed with improvement, you no longer need outside motivation. You don't wait for someone to tell you to get moving. You feel an internal pull every single day. You want to do the work because it excites you, because it challenges you, because you know that each effort is shaping your future. This kind of obsession doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like purpose. It creates energy, and that energy keeps you moving even when others have stopped. So, people who are obsessed with growth are never satisfied with average because they know they're capable of more. What makes obsession so powerful is that it rewires your priorities. When you truly care about the work, you naturally start cutting out the things that hold you back. Distractions lose their appeal because they don't match the intensity of your commitment. Laziness feels uncomfortable because it doesn't align with your standard anymore. Instead of wasting hours on things that don't matter, you dedicate yourself to the habits that bring results. Your days become sharper, your choices more deliberate, and your actions more consistent. That shift doesn't happen when you're casual. It only happens when you're obsessed. Obsession also creates a level of focus that ordinary effort never achieves. Most people scatter their energy across too many directions, and as a result, they never make real progress in any of them. But when you're obsessed with a mission, your focus narrows. You pour your energy into one clear path, and that intensity allows you to achieve in months what others can't accomplish in years. It's not about working endlessly. It's about working with such clarity and dedication that you move faster and stronger than anyone else. This doesn't mean obsession makes life harder. In fact, it often makes life simpler. When you know what you want and you're committed to the work, decisions become easier. You don't waste time debating whether you should work or not because the answer is always yes. You don't waste energy wondering if your efforts are worth it because you know the process itself is valuable. Obsession removes hesitation and replaces it with clarity. Every day, the sense and that direction creates peace of mind, even in the middle of hard work. Some people hear the word obsession and think it means losing balance or sacrificing everything else. But true obsession is not about destroying your life. It's about aligning it. It's about bringing your daily actions in line with your highest goals. It's about refusing to waste your limited time on things that don't matter and instead pouring your heart into something that does. Obsession doesn't make you weaker, it makes you stronger because it sharpens your purpose. When you live this way, the ordinary starts to feel unacceptable. You're not satisfied with average effort, average results, or average growth. You demand more of yourself, and because of that, life gives you more in return. One of the most powerful things about obsession is the way it carries you through setbacks. Ordinary effort usually dies when obstacles appear. Most people stop when things get too difficult or when they don't see quick progress. But if you're obsessed with the work, quitting doesn't even feel like an option. You adjust, you adapt, you keep going because your commitment is too strong to be broken by temporary setbacks. This resilience is what allows obsessed individuals to outlast everyone else. They don't need to be the most talented or the luckiest. They simply refuse to stop, and that persistence eventually creates. Obsession also has a contagious effect. When people see your commitment, they can't help but be influenced by it. Your focus and consistency inspire others to raise their own standards. Opportunities come your way because people trust someone who is clearly dedicated to their craft. The world naturally respects obsession because it's rare. While most people are casual, someone who lives with intensity stands out. That kind of presence opens doors that remain closed to those who only dabble. And there's another truth about obsession. It feels good. It gives you a sense of direction and purpose that most people never experience. Instead of drifting through life, you wake up with fire. Instead of being pulled in different directions, you move with intention. That feeling of alignment is powerful. It gives meaning to your days, pride in your progress, and excitement for your future. It's not a burden to be obsessed. It's a privilege because it means you've found something worth giving your full effort to. When you look at anyone who has created something extraordinary, you'll always find obsession at the core. Not casual effort, not occasional dedication, but a deep, consistent commitment to the work. That's what takes ordinary people and turns them into leaders, innovators, and success stories. The difference isn't in talent or luck, it's in how obsessed they were with improving, learning, and showing up. If you want to live a life that stands out, you can't settle for average effort. You need to decide that the work is worth your full focus, your full energy, and your full attention. Because in the end, obsession is not about the results. It's about becoming the kind of person who can't settle for less than their best. And when you live that way, extraordinary results follow naturally. They may not come overnight, but they come as a reflection of the extraordinary effort you've been willing to put in day after day. Ordinary fades quickly, but obsession creates a life that people remember. Part 5. Results come as a byproduct. One of the greatest lessons you will ever learn in life is this. Results don't show up because you demand them. They show up because you earn them. They are not the starting point. They are the byproduct. They are the natural consequence of doing the work the right way every single day, even when no one notices, even when there is no immediate reward. Most people fail because they get this backward. They wake up each day looking for results instead of building themselves into the kind of person who can create results. They stand in front of the mirror wondering why things haven't changed yet, why the opportunities aren't falling into their lap, why success hasn't arrived. But here's the truth: results never come to those who sit and wait. They come to those who plant seeds, water them, and tend the soil long before they ever see the harvest. Think about it. No farmer in his right mind expects a crop to grow the moment he puts a seed in the ground. He doesn't go out the next morning, stomp his feet, and demand results.
What smells?
No, he knows nature has a rhythm, a process. He respects the law of sowing and reaping. The work of preparing the ground, planting the seed, and faithfully caring for it comes first. The harvest comes later, as a byproduct of the labor, and life is no different. The man who spends his time learning, growing, disciplining his habits, and showing up with consistency will eventually see results. They may not come tomorrow, they may not come next week, but they will come. They have to, because results are simply the natural reward of aligned effort. But here's where many people sabotage themselves. They become obsessed with the outcome instead of the process. They go to the gym 3 times, and when they don't see six-pack abs, they quit. They work on their business for a month, and when the money doesn't roll in, they give up. They read for a week, and when they don't feel wiser, they stop. Why? Because they wanted instant results instead of trusting the process. Success doesn't work that way. You don't get to demand the timing of results. You don't get to choose when the harvest shows up. Your job is not to control the outcome. Your job is to control your input, to control your habits, your work ethic, your discipline, your focus. Because when those things are in place, results are inevitable. And here's the beauty of it. When you stop obsessing over results and start obsessing over growth, you become unstoppable. You free yourself from frustration, from impatience, from the discouragement that stops most people in their tracks. Because you're no longer asking, why isn't it here yet? Instead, you're saying, am I doing the work today? Am I improving today? Am I showing up today? And the more times you can answer yes to those questions, the closer you get to the breakthrough you've been waiting for. Let me tell you something powerful. Results are not something you pursue directly. They are something you attract by the person you become. It's not about chasing success. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally creates it. Success is not something you go out and get. It's something you draw into your life through discipline, through consistency, through effort. Think of results like shadows. You can't grab your shadow. You can't chase it down and hold it. But when you move, when you walk in the light, your shadow follows you. In the same way, when you take action, when you discipline yourself, when you stay committed, results follow. They are simply the shadow of your daily habits. This is why I tell people, don't worry about how fast results come. Don't worry about who's ahead of you right now. Don't worry if people aren't applauding you yet. Focus on the work. Focus on planting the right seeds, because sooner or later the harvest will show up. And when it does, it will be worth every single day you kept going. And let me warn you, chasing results without building the foundation is dangerous. You might get them for a moment. You might stumble upon some quick, but if you haven't built the discipline, the character, and the habits to sustain it, those results will slip right through your fingers. That's why you see athletes who rise to the top and then fall apart. That's why you see entrepreneurs who make money fast but lose it just as quickly. They loved the result more than the process. And without the process, results never last. So here's the truth you need to remember. Results are not the goal. Growth is Results are not the destination. They are the evidence that you've been walking the path with discipline. You cannot control when or how they show up, but you can control whether or not you deserve them. And when you keep doing the work, when you keep showing up, when you keep getting better, results have no choice but to arrive. So stop staring at the scoreboard and start playing the game. Stop waiting for applause and start practicing in the silence. Stop begging for results and start building yourself into the kind of person who creates them naturally. Because results will always come as a byproduct. Part 6. Love the grind, not the glory. The most successful people in the world don't wake up every day chasing applause. They don't measure their worth by how many people notice them or by how fast they can reach the next milestone. What drives them is something deeper. They love the grind. They love the work itself. They fall in love with showing up, with the effort, with the process that most people try to skip. That's the difference between ordinary lives and extraordinary ones. Those who chase glory alone will always feel frustrated. Glory comes and goes. It is fleeting, but the grind, the daily effort, the commitment to improve, that is permanent. Loving the grind doesn't mean you ignore results or stop caring about success. It means you find satisfaction in the work itself, in the discipline of improvement, the moments where others would quit. It's in the early mornings, the late nights, the hours when no one is watching and nothing seems to be changing. That is where growth lives. That is where character is forged. When you start loving the grind, you stop depending on recognition to feel motivated. You discover that effort feels good in itself, and every step forward builds energy, confidence, and strength. The grind teaches patience, persistence, and focus. It shows you that progress isn't always visible day to day, but the cumulative effect is unstoppable. When you love the work, you become resilient. Obstacles no longer scare you, and setbacks no longer stop you. Because when you are obsessed with the process, even failure becomes part of the journey. Each challenge is a lesson. Each difficulty is an opportunity. You stop running from hardship and start embracing it, knowing that it is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than before. Those who love the grind also gain freedom. Most people are enslaved by the need for recognition, by the desire for praise, by the fear of being seen as unsuccessful. But if you fall in love with the work, you are free from all of that. You no longer need validation from others to feel accomplished. You no longer measure your worth by awards, money, or applause. You measure it by your commitment to show up every day, by your dedication to improving, and by your ability to stay consistent when it would be easier to quit. That freedom allows you to focus on growth rather than distraction. And here's the reality. Glory is seductive, but it is unreliable. People can celebrate you today and forget you tomorrow. Money can come and go. Recognition can fade. But the work you do today, the discipline you practice, the grind you embrace, none of that can be taken away. That's why the most successful, most resilient, most fulfilled people focus on loving the grind. They know that the reward is a byproduct. That lasting fulfillment comes from mastery, not applause. Loving the grind also gives you joy in the ordinary moments. While everyone else is looking for excitement, for fame, for instant recognition, you find purpose in the process. The small wins, the incremental improvements, the effort itself, they become a source of satisfaction, and this satisfaction is steady. It doesn't rely on others, it doesn't fade with circumstances, and it doesn't disappear when life changes. That is the kind of joy that builds confidence, courage, and independence. When you make the grind your priority, you also inspire others. People notice dedication, persistence, and consistency, even if they don't always see the results immediately. Your example becomes a quiet force that motivates others to work harder, to show up more, to take ownership of their own growth. You become someone who leads through action, not through the temporary glow of recognition. That influence is far more valuable than fleeting glory, and it often lasts longer than the results themselves. Finally, when you love the grind, you start to understand the true meaning of success. Success is not the moment of recognition, the applause, or the trophies. Success is the person you become in the process of working, learning, and improving. Success is the discipline you build, the habits you establish, and the consistency you practice. So warriors, the glory might come for a day, a week, or a year, but loving the grind sustains you for a lifetime. If you want a life of lasting achievement, stop chasing glory. Stop seeking applause. Start loving the grind. Fall in love with showing up, with improving, with doing the work every day. Because the work is what builds you. The work is what creates resilience. The work is what produces results that last. And the glory, when it arrives, will be the natural byproduct of a life spent fully committed to the process. Part 7. Work shapes identity. Results only measure it. Every action you take, every choice you make, slowly shapes the person you become. Work is not just something you do to achieve results. It is who you are becoming in the process. The effort, the discipline, the focus you put into your daily actions creates your identity. It teaches you what you value, what you can handle, and how much you are willing to push for the life you want. Results, on the other hand, are just a reflection. They measure the work you have done, but they do not define you. The person you are, the habits you develop, the resilience you build, the standards you set is permanent. Results are temporary, but the identity you create through your work lasts forever. Most people mistake results for identity. They feel good when they hit a milestone and bad when they fail. They think a promotion, a raise, a trophy, or recognition defines their worth. But results are fleeting. They can disappear in a Someone can take your job, the market can shift, an illness can strike, or a competitor can outperform you. If your identity is tied to results, you will be at the mercy of circumstances, and your sense of self will fluctuate with every outcome. But when your identity is rooted in work, discipline, and effort, nothing external can take that away. You become someone who can handle whatever life throws at you, because you trust yourself to keep showing up and doing the work. Work shapes identity because it forces you to take responsibility. Every time you choose to put in effort when no one is watching, you are making a statement about who you are. You are telling yourself and the world that you are the kind of person who does what needs to be done, no matter how hard it is. You are the kind of person who doesn't quit, even when it's uncomfortable. Over time, these choices become habits, and these habits define your character. The work you do every day molds you into someone stronger, more capable, and more resilient than you were yesterday. The beauty of this is that identity carries you further than results ever can. A person who has built a strong identity through consistent work doesn't panic when results slow down. They know the outcome is not the measure of their worth. They know that as long as they continue to put in the effort, the results will come eventually. They are patient, disciplined, and confident because they have invested in something permanent themselves. And that is the real source of long-term success. Another important point is that results can mislead you. Sometimes they come easily without much effort, and they can create a false sense of achievement. You might win a competition, get a promotion, or earn money without developing the skills or character to sustain it. That kind of success is temporary, and it leaves you vulnerable the moment conditions change. Work, however, builds a foundation that cannot be taken away. It creates skills, resilience, and habits that carry you through challenges, even when results vanish. This is why the most respected and successful people focus on building identity through work rather than obsessing over results. They understand that mastery, discipline, and character are permanent assets. Results are the evidence that the work is being done, but they are not the prize itself. The prize is the person you become while doing the work. When you realize this, you stop living for approval or recognition. You stop chasing outcomes that may or may not materialize. You focus instead on showing up consistently, learning, growing, and improving every single day. Work also shapes identity because it teaches perseverance. Every time you continue pushing forward when it's difficult, when the results aren't immediate, or when no one is watching, you are reinforcing the kind of person you are. You are creating strength and resilience that no award or recognition can replace. That identity becomes your armor. It allows you to weather failure, disappointment, and setbacks without losing confidence. You are no longer defined by external circumstances, but by your inner commitment to growth. Results only measure how well your work has been executed. They are like a scoreboard. They tell you where you stand, but they don't tell you who you are. By focusing on your work, you ensure that the person you are becoming is strong, disciplined, and capable. When results arrive, they simply confirm the identity you have already built. When results don't arrive, you don't lose faith because your self-worth is tied to your effort, the outcome. This understanding changes everything. It shifts your focus from temporary validation to permanent growth. It teaches you to take pride in daily effort, in the habits you are building, in the still act. The real victory is in the process. The real success is in who you are becoming. There's just a reflection of that. If you want to live a life of true accomplishment, commit yourself to the work, to the discipline, to the habits that shape your identity. Don't measure yourself by fleeting outcomes. Measure yourself by your consistency, your effort, and your commitment to growth. When you do, results will follow naturally. But more importantly, you will have become someone capable of sustaining success. Someone resilient in the face of challenges, and someone proud of the person they've become. Identity built through work is permanent, and that is the ultimate source of confidence, power, and freedom. Results may come and go, but the person you build through daily effort will carry you through every season of life. But how to press forward? By loving the work and focusing on shaping your identity, you ensure that success is not a temporary visitor. It becomes a permanent part of who you are. Part 8. Delayed gratification creates lasting success. There is a simple truth about success that most people struggle to accept. The things that are worth having require patience. Instant pleasure feels good in the moment, but it rarely creates long-term results. The ability to delay gratification, the willingness to put in effort today and wait for the reward tomorrow is what separates those who achieve lasting success from those who chase short-term satisfaction. Every moment you resist the easy path and commit to doing the hard work builds something inside you that no temporary pleasure ever can. That's why the people who master delayed gratification become unstoppable. Most people live in a culture that celebrates instant results. Apps, fast food, streaming entertainment, and instant communication have trained us to expect rewards immediately. We scroll for a like, we click for a notification, we consume for instant entertainment. But life's greatest achievements are not built in an afternoon or even a month. They are the result of consistent effort over months and years, often without any visible reward. The ability to wait, to persist, to keep working without immediate payoff is the hallmark of anyone destined for lasting success. Delayed gratification begins. It's the ability to say no to short-term distractions and yes to long-term benefits. It's choosing to invest in yourself, your skills, your health, and your character, even when there is no immediate recognition or reward. It's studying when others are watching videos, training when others are resting, saving when others are spending. That control creates freedom because it ensures that when the reward finally comes, it comes fully earned. You are not dependent on luck or convenience. You are the architect of your own success. Every time you practice delayed gratification, you are building discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are today and where you want to be tomorrow. It allows you to stay committed when it's uncomfortable, when the process is boring, or when others around you quit. And discipline is the engine that keeps long-term success moving forward. Without it, even talent, opportunity, and good intentions are wasted. But with it, you can withstand setbacks, ignore distractions, and stay on course until your goals are realized. Delayed gratification also strengthens patience. Too often, people give up because they do not see progress fast enough. They expect results immediately, and when the world does not comply, they quit. But success is rarely instant. The ability to wait, to endure the discomfort of delayed rewards, to keep working without seeing the payoff, is what allows ordinary effort to compound into extraordinary results. The more you practice patience, the more resilient and confident you become, because you trust that your work will eventually produce results. There is also a powerful mental shift that occurs when you embrace delayed gratification. You stop seeking validation in external rewards. You stop depending on recognition, applause, or instant outcomes to measure your worth. Instead, you focus on building the foundation, strengthening the habits, and improving yourself every single day. And when results do arrive, they feel sweeter because they were earned through persistence, effort, and self-control. Nothing that is rushed or easy has the same lasting impact as something you have worked for and waited patiently to achieve. Delayed gratification is the secret behind the success of some of the greatest achievers in history. They understood that lasting wealth, mastery, and influence could not be created overnight. They invested in the long game. They endured the grind. They delayed the pleasure of immediate satisfaction so they could reap the reward of something that would last a lifetime. That's why their results were not temporary. They were permanent because they were built on years of consistent, patient effort. And delayed gratification is not just about work. It applies to every area of life, health, relationships, finances, and personal growth. Eating right instead of indulging in junk, exercising instead of sitting idle, saving instead of spending recklessly, learning instead of wasting time on distractions, these choices compound over time. The small sacrifices you make today build a life that is stronger, healthier, and more successful tomorrow. Each act of self-control strengthens your character and builds momentum toward lasting success. When you practice delayed gratification, you also gain clarity. You start to understand what truly matters. Short-term pleasures become less distracting because you are focused on something bigger. You begin to prioritize long-term goals over immediate convenience, and that focus ensures that your efforts are aligned with your highest ambitions. Every decision becomes intentional, every action deliberate, and every day a step toward the life you want to create. The people who fail often do so because they chase quick wins and instant results. They trade the long-term benefit for immediate pleasure, and over time, the accumulation of those choices leaves them behind. But those who embrace delayed gratification understand that success is not a sprint. It's a marathon. They understand that the reward is not just the end result, but the growth and strength they build along the way. They understand that patience is power and persistence is profit. So if you want to create success that lasts, stop seeking the shortcut. Stop chasing the easy path. Start committing to the work that requires time, effort, and self-control. Learn to enjoy the process, to endure the delay, and to trust that your consistent effort will pay off. The life you desire is built in the waiting, strengthened in the effort, and solidified by the choices you make today. Delayed gratification is not deprivation, it is empowerment. It gives you control over your future, confidence in your abilities, and the knowledge that the success you earn will be permanent because it was earned the right way. When you master the art of waiting and working, you not only achieve results, you become someone capable of sustaining them, someone resilient in the face of challenges, and someone ready for the life you've always imagined. Part 9. Success is not found in the result, it's found in the process. Too many people spend their lives staring at the finish line, obsessing over the outcome, and worrying about whether or not they will succeed. They get so caught up in what they want to achieve that they forget to focus on the steps that actually create it. Life does not reward people for wanting results, it rewards people for doing the work. The process is where growth happens, where habits are formed, and where character is built. Without a focus on process, results are unreliable, temporary, and often disappointing. The process teaches every time you show up and do the work, even when it feels tedious or progress is invisible, you are building habits that compound over time. That is the true engine of success. Results may fluctuate, but the process, when followed faithfully, always produces growth. People who chase outcomes instead of the process often quit when results don't come immediately. They become discouraged, lose focus, and give up before they ever reach their potential. But those who commit to the process, regardless of immediate reward, create momentum that carries them through challenges and setbacks. When you focus on process over outcome, your work becomes more intentional. Each action you take has purpose because you are not blindly chasing results. You are building skills, improving systems, and strengthening your capacity. This focus allows you to pay attention to the small, daily details that others overlook. These small, consistent actions are what differentiate the extraordinary from the ordinary. Success is rarely about dramatic moves or sudden luck. It is about mastering the process, one deliberate step at a time. Focusing on the process also builds resilience. Outcomes are unpredictable. You can put in your best effort and still face failure. But when your attention is on the process, failure does not feel permanent. You learn from it. You adjust. You keep moving forward because you understand that the result is only one part of the journey. The process becomes your anchor. It is steady, reliable, and within your control. No one can take it away from you. And no circumstance can disrupt your progress when your commitment is to the work itself. Another advantage of loving the process is that it reduces anxiety and stress. When you obsess over outcomes, every setback feels catastrophic. Every delay feels personal. But when you focus on the steps, on showing up, on doing your best in the present moment, you create a sense of control. The process also cultivates mastery. No one becomes great overnight. Talent alone is not enough. Mastery requires deliberate practice, repetition, and commitment to learning. Each day spent improving, refining, and learning through the process brings you closer to excellence. Results may come in bursts, but mastery is built one step at a time through consistent, disciplined action. By focusing on the process, you ensure that your skills, knowledge, and abilities grow steadily and permanently, regardless of the immediate outcome. It is also worth noting that the process creates fulfillment in itself. When your energy is directed toward growth, improvement, and disciplined effort, you find satisfaction in the work itself. You no longer depend on recognition or approval to feel accomplished. Each small win, each step forward becomes a source of pride. You start enjoying the journey rather than just longing for the destination. This joy in the process makes success sustainable because it is not reliant on external validation or fleeting results. When you focus on process over outcome, you also build credibility and trust. People notice consistency. They respect those who work diligently, methodically, and persistently. They trust those who are committed to quality, to learning, and to improvement, rather than chasing shortcuts or instant results. This credibility often opens doors, creates opportunities, and attracts resources that would never appear to those obsessed only with the final result. And here's the ultimate truth. Results are inevitable when the process is followed. They are not guaranteed by luck, wishful thinking, or short bursts of effort. They are guaranteed by consistent, intentional work. The process is the foundation. It is the mechanism through which growth, progress, and success flow naturally. When you master the process, results cease to be the goal. They simply appear as the natural consequence of your dedication. Every successful person understands this principle. They don't focus on the headlines, the awards, or the accolades first. They focus on showing up, learning, improving, and performing every day with discipline. They understand that the outcome is a reflection of the process, and by perfecting the process, they ensure that extraordinary results will follow. The takeaway is simple. If you want lasting success, shift your focus. Stop obsessing over what you hope to achieve. Instead, obsess over how you are achieving it. Commit to the steps, the habits, and the effort required. Invest in the process, and the results will chase you. You may not see immediate reward, but the growth, skill, and confidence you develop along the way are permanent. That is the real value. That is the true power of focusing on process over outcome. Part 10. Success is hidden in daily effort. Success is not a sudden event, a lightning strike, or a gift that falls into your lap. It is hidden in daily effort, in the small actions you take when no one is watching, in the habits you practice day after day. Most people look at success as something that will arrive overnight, and when it doesn't, they become discouraged. But the truth is that success is accumulated in the quiet moments, in the consistency of effort that compounds over time. Every hour you dedicate, every task you complete, every extra step you take builds toward a future that most people will never see coming. Daily effort is what separates those who achieve from those who dream. Talent and luck play a role, but they cannot replace the consistent work that builds mastery and results. You can have potential, but potential alone does not create anything. It is only through deliberate daily effort that potential is transformed into skill, confidence, and tangible achievement. Each time you choose to put in the work, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient, you are investing in a future version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, and more capable. The beauty of daily effort is that it is within your control. You cannot control the economy, the opinions of others, or sudden changes in circumstances. But you can control whether you show up today, whether you do the work, whether you push yourself a little further than yesterday. And it is precisely this control that leads to lasting success. When you commit to daily effort, you remove the uncertainty of relying on chance. You create a path forward that grows stronger with each step you take. Most people underestimate the power of small, repeated actions. They look for big wins, dramatic breakthroughs, or instant results. But the truth is that success is built incrementally. It is the small disciplines practiced consistently over weeks, months, and years that compound into extraordinary outcomes. Every hour spent improving, every skill honed, every challenge faced contributes to a foundation that is unshakable. This is where the real advantage lies. The majority of people never stick dots. with the daily effort long enough to see the exponential growth it creates. Daily effort also shapes character. It teaches patience, perseverance, and resilience. When you commit to showing up every day, even when progress feels slow, you are strengthening your ability to endure setbacks and keep moving forward. You are proving to yourself that you are capable of discipline, that you can handle discomfort, and that you can persist when others quit. These qualities are far more valuable than any result you might achieve in the short term now, because they are the ones that sustain you through every challenge life throws your way. There is a sense of fulfillment in knowing that you are giving your best consistently. It doesn't matter if anyone notices it today. It doesn't matter if the world recognizes your effort immediately. The value is in the act itself. Each day you put in the effort, you are creating momentum, shaping your identity, and setting yourself apart from those who rely on chance, luck, or fleeting motivation. Momentum builds quietly but powerfully, and before long, it produces results that feel inevitable. Another important aspect is that daily effort builds confidence. When you know you have done your part, when you know you have shown up consistently, you no longer feel helpless in the face of challenges. You know that you are prepared. You know that you have invested in yourself. This confidence is what allows you to take risks, to seize opportunities, and to push past fear. Without consistent effort, with it, confidence becomes unshakable, rooted in the knowledge that you have earned it through your own actions. Daily effort also cultivates mastery. No one becomes exceptional without repeated practice. You cannot shortcut skill, knowledge, or experience. It takes time and persistent action. But every moment you invest in the work, every time you choose to practice, to learn, and to improve, you are inching closer to mastery. The difference between someone mediocre and someone extraordinary is not raw talent. It is the accumulation of daily effort over time. Ordinary people give up after a week or a month. Extraordinary people keep going for years, and that is why their results are so far beyond everyone else. Finally, daily effort reminds you that success is earned, not given. It cannot be demanded, wished for, or begged. It must be built brick by brick, day by day. The people who achieve it understand that each day is an opportunity to add to the foundation of their life. They know that the process itself is the path to success, and the results are simply the natural consequence of consistent, intentional action. Every effort counts. Every choice matters. Every day is a chance to move closer to the life you desire. Success is hidden in daily effort because it is not flashy, dramatic, or immediate. It is earned silently, steadily, and deliberately. The people who reach the top are not necessarily more talented or luckier. They are not simply the ones who refuse to skip the small actions that lead to big results. They trusted the process. They embraced the discipline. They showed up when others would have given up. And that is why, in the end, success is not a mystery. It is a reflection of the commitment, consistency, and effort that you put in every single day. Part 11. Focus on effort, not recognition. That feels good. We all like to be noticed, to have people applaud us, to feel admired for what we do. But if your motivation depends on recognition, you will always be vulnerable. Recognition is fleeting. Today people cheer, tomorrow they move on. True achievement is not measured by applause. It is measured by effort. The person who focuses on consistent, deliberate effort every day is the one who builds results that last. Recognition may come along the way, but it cannot be the reason you work. Effort must exist independently of notice. Focusing on effort means committing to showing up, even when no one is watching. It means dedicating yourself to improvement, discipline, and growth without relying on external validation. People who chase recognition often act only when others are observing. They do just enough to impress or to gain approval. But effort-focused individuals do what needs to be done consistently, regardless of who sees it. Their work is genuine, their habits strong, and their results inevitable. Effort creates internal satisfaction that recognition can never provide. When you know you have given your best, when you have pushed through discomfort and stayed disciplined, you experience a quiet confidence that cannot be shaken. Recognition can be taken away or ignored, but effort leaves a permanent mark on your character. It builds resilience, self-respect, and the ability to tackle challenges without needing applause to feel motivated. Another truth is that recognition often arrives long after effort is applied. Many of the most successful people worked tirelessly for years before anyone noticed. The reward was delayed, yet their focus on consistent effort never wavered. By committing to effort rather than recognition, you are preparing yourself to perform at your best regardless of immediate feedback. This mindset prevents disappointment, keeps motivation steady, and ensures progress even when outcomes are invisible. Effort-focused people also develop mastery. Talent is not enough, and praise does not build skill. Repetition, discipline, and consistent action do. When your goal is effort, you concentrate on the work itself, refining your craft, learning from mistakes, improving each day. Mastery comes from the grind, not from applause. Recognition is just an outcome that reflects your commitment to daily action. There is also freedom in focusing on effort. When you stop depending on recognition, you are free to take risks, try new strategies, and innovate without fear of judgment. You are no longer bound by the opinions of others or distracted by the desire to be seen. Your energy goes entirely into building, learning, and improving. This freedom leads to growth that is both sustainable and authentic. Effort-focused individuals inspire others naturally. People notice dedication, discipline, and consistency. You don't need to seek recognition. It follows naturally when you give your best. But it is the effort itself, not the recognition, that sustains motivation and drives achievement over time. Recognition may fluctuate, but consistent effort compounds, creating results that cannot be taken away. Finally, focusing on effort over recognition builds resilience in the face of setbacks. Life will not always reward you immediately. People will not always acknowledge your work. Circumstances will challenge you. But if your motivation is rooted in effort, you continue to move forward. You trust the process and the value of hard work, knowing that true results and success are the natural byproducts of consistent effort. An external applause. When you make effort the priority, recognition becomes a pleasant bonus, not a necessity. The satisfaction of knowing you have given your best day after day is far more fulfilling than any fleeting moment of praise. This mindset produces sustainable success, strong character, and a life built on discipline, persistence, and integrity. Effort is permanent. Recognition is temporary. Focus on the work and everything else will follow. As we reach the end of this journey together, it's important to understand that the path to success is not about shortcuts, instant results, or applause. It's about commitment. It's about showing up day after day, even when the work is hard, even when it feels like no one is watching, even when the results haven't arrived yet. True success is built quietly, patiently, and deliberately. Every effort you put in, every habit you form, every challenge you face is shaping the person you are becoming. The glory will come, but it is not the reason you work. The reason you work is to build yourself, to create strength, discipline, and mastery that cannot be taken away. The lessons we've explored are not abstract ideas. They are practical, actionable principles that you can apply today. Today, work comes before reward. Discipline lays the foundation for everything you want. Results may be temporary, but work and effort are permanent. Obsession with the process turns ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. Results are simply a byproduct of consistent work, not the purpose of it. Love the grind, not the glory, because the grind is where growth lives. Every action you take shapes your identity, and delayed gratification is the key to lasting success. Focus on the process, not the outcome. Understand that success hides in daily effort, and let your effort, not recognition, define your actions. What ties all of this together is mindset. Success is not something you chase, it is something you create, step by step, habit by habit, day by day. The people who achieve extraordinary results are not necessarily smarter, luckier, or more talented. They are simply the ones who decided that showing up, putting in effort, and committing to the process was non-negotiable. They chose to be obsessed with the work, not with the fleeting satisfaction of results or recognition. Remember that this journey is personal. You cannot compare your path to someone else's. You cannot rely on applause or external validation to measure your progress. The only true measure is your own consistency, your own commitment, and the strength of your daily actions. Every challenge you overcome, every extra hour you dedicate, every uncomfortable choice you make is building a version of yourself, that is capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. Success is patient, but it rewards those who are relentless in their pursuit of growth. It may not come overnight, but it comes. The results will follow naturally when you have built the habits, the discipline, and the resilience that no one can take away. The life you dream of is not waiting for luck or permission. It is waiting for your effort, your focus, and your dedication. You hold the power to shape it every single day. So make the choice to fall in love with the work. Commit to consistent effort, to mastering the process, and to building your identity through discipline and daily action. Ignore the distractions, ignore the temporary applause, ignore the need for immediate gratification. Focus on becoming the person who can achieve extraordinary results, and the results will follow as a natural consequence. This is more than motivation. It is a blueprint for transformation. If you embrace it, you will see that life rewards